Hi, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and we are currently live in the breakout room. So, welcome, and we love being here for you with quality and value to inspire and to transform. Remember, we are on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and iTunes. Today, as usual, we have a special guest to share with you for your development and growth and to live your better informed life. So, grab a cup, pull up a seat, and stay tuned for the introduction. Right here, now, live in the breakout room. It's the place for health, happiness, and prosperity. Stay tuned. Hi, this is Andy, your award winning and internationally accredited life and development coach, and we are live in the breakout room. If you are here, then this is the place for health, happiness, and prosperity. Now, the introduction to our special guest. Our next guest in the breakout room is a number one best selling author, motivational speaker, life coach, recovery coach, and counselor. He's considered as a leader in the positive thinking movement. He's a man of strong family values. He is none other than David Essel. He is the author of 12 books. They include Helping Americans Heal, The Ultimate Gratitude Journal, and you can also get his mental health and Master Life Coach Certification Level 3 workbook. He's endorsed by Jenny McCarthy, radio show host, actress, author, and TV host. He says, life is all about patterns. Let me, David, help you eradicate beliefs and habits in the subconscious mind that are holding you back and instill new beliefs and habits so that you can create the life you desire. For 25 years, David has used a variety of healing methods to help people release limiting beliefs regarding money, their bodies, love, addictions, a lack of self-identity, and more. So, with his engaging smile, David can help you to master your subconscious mind, to master your life. So, let's welcome this inspirational guest live in the breakout room, the man, David Essel.
Oh my gosh, Andy. You moved me emotionally. Oh my Lord, you moved me. You moved my heart, brother. Holy cow. That was such a beautiful introduction. Oh my Lord,
Wow.
thank
Oh
you. Thank
my.
you,
You're
sir.
welcome. You are welcome. You are our guest. And we have to treat you in the way in which you deserve so that you can produce the value and the information that you're going to give to our people, our tribe, our hearers. So you give the inspiration, David. Thank you so very much.
Yes.
So
Special.
nice to have you. Good to have you in the platform on the show. And I want to get right into it. And I want to go to a place where you were when you were about 5 years of age. And I hope you can remember those fun memories because it says here that you were called the junkie of basketball. What it is about that statement that you can identify with even at the age of 5, David? Tell us.
A basketball, I used to go to bed with it. My mom would try to
Wow.
take it out of my arms, and I would have to sleep with my basketball every night. And it was, some of the most profound memories that I've had in my life have to do with basketball. Right now, there's the huge NBA playoffs, and I feel like a kid. I'm in my living room still screaming as if I'm 10 years of age, championing on my teams, so I think that when we're very open to life, there are some people, Andy, that are drawn very early to the world of art. the world
Okay.
of creativity. There are others that are drawn at 6 years of age to mechanical things, right? They put
Hmm.
together stuff at six, and you go, "What's going on?" And then
Yeah.
there are others that are drawn to sports, and so I think that we're all drawn to something. And if you haven't found what you're here for, I don't care if you're 30, 60, 90, there's still time. And to
Right.
reflect back to that question, that statement you made about basketball brings the biggest smile to my heart as well, because it was my life, Andy. It was the only thing I cared about. And then when I got to play college basketball for 2 years, and then reality hit, I wasn't good enough to continue to play anymore, and
Yeah.
so I had
Yeah.
to accept that reality. But I've never lost love for that sport.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, David. And your life is so fascinating. It says that when you began your professional career, you had to lead a passionate and inspiring life. And it was based on something that you had discovered. Tell us about that. When you started your professional career, what was the catalyst towards you making those decisions?
Well, I think there's two things that go on. One is I have a deep faith, an incredibly deep faith. And so
Hmm.
with deep faith, I sort of follow that inner small voice, right? The
Okay.
small voice within that guides us. And I've been in touch with that. I've been very fortunate in touch with that since I was, very, very young.
Uh huh.
And then the other thing, Andy, is that I'm going back to this whole thing that we're born with certain gifts. I was very fortunate. I didn't realize this for a very long time, that I was naturally born to be a leader.
Okay.
I didn't really grasp that until probably my 30s. But as I look back, every part of my life, I was always the person in charge. I was the pitcher in
Hmm.
baseball. I was the point guard in basketball. And in my neighborhood, I was the one that organized the basketball teams and divided kids up into different to play with different players. And so it was a natural thing for me to be a leader. And I believe that that's what has led that, plus a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
will open up doorways to success once we really see what gifts we've been given. Andy, but it brings up a very interesting point that I
Uh
want to
huh.
have our audience reflect on. What are the gifts that naturally are given to you? And I would
Mm.
like our audience to write those down. Like, I want you to get conscious, right? A lot of times we forget,
Yeah.
that we're really creative, or that we're really patient, or that we're a great listener, or that we're a great doer. There's some people that just are constantly, acting and doing great stuff. Maybe we've learned how to slow down, and that's a gift that we give to others.
Okay.
We all have something inside, and I think the quest in life is to find what those gifts are and then to put them into action,
Hmm.
just like you're doing, Andy, with this show.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing, David. Now, you really began in the health and fitness industry, and soon you were called Mr. Motivation and the number one life coach in the USA by Lifetime. What did you do, David, to create that kind of impact, and where did the Mr. Motivation come from?
Yeah, this is great. It's bringing me back a long time. We're talking about 1980, Andy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've been doing this work for 43 years, but I graduated with a degree in sports psychology. So I
Okay.
was very much into working with athletes. And then have always loved fitness. So I
Mm-hmm.
became a fitness instructor and then a fitness speaker. And I
Mm-hmm.
ended up traveling 40 weeks, a year as a speaker
Wow.
for a very, very long time. And I again, I feel very blessed, but I did hit in 1989. I'll never forget it. I hit a big burnout in the world of
Wow.
fitness,
Okay.
and that's when I started to be recognized in the world of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a cover of a magazine where they called me the master of motivation, and
Yeah.
that just led me to a new level. I started even traveling more, speaking more, and then
Mm-hmm.
it started, instead of Andy staying only in the world of fitness, I started getting involved with people that wanted to build their businesses bigger, people that wanted to save their marriages or relationships, individuals struggling with addiction. And all of a sudden, my world blew up. And
Ah,
instead of just being focused on fitness and health and sports, it became everything, which is perfect for me because I love helping people regardless of what their challenge is.
okay. Wonderful. Was that when you created Life Coach Universe? Was that the motivation behind it? How was
Yeah,
that for you?
1996, Andy.
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. I had been a counselor and a life coach for a number of years, and I had just helped this woman out in Portland, Oregon, and I was living in Florida. I helped her overcome a huge challenge with a former husband. And
Mm-hmm.
then she became the president of a nonprofit organization. And I mean, she just created this massive success. And she called me one day and she said, David, you've done so much for me in the world of coaching. I want you to train me how to become a life coach. And
Okay.
Andy, I remember sitting there in 1996 going, I have no idea. What do you mean train you how to become a life coach?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
just something
Yeah.
I do naturally. And plus, I have a
Yeah.
degree in counseling, right? Sports
Yeah.
psychology. She
Right.
goes, David, I know you can teach me, and I want to start in 3 months. So in 3 months, I had to put together a full life coach certification program just because of this one person, Andy. And then once we released it, oh my gosh, everything went crazy. We've been certifying people from 1996 all over the world. We do it via Zoom, we Skype, phone, in person, everywhere. And because of what's happened in the pandemic, which we'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about at the end of the show,
Yeah.
we've actually created a brand new mental health and master life coach certification to help people learn more about the mental health challenges that the
Yeah.
world is going through
Yeah.
so we can help more people heal as well.
Very important. I saw that. I just want to say kudos to you guys for taking that very practical and realistic approach because we do need help. There are a whole lot of people that are struggling and suffering and hurting, and they
Oh,
need an escape room. They need somewhere they can go, someone they can reach out to.
that's right.
And so kudos to you guys, David. You
Yeah,
were
thank
also
you.
a former adjunct professor who taught courses on public speaking and life coach certifications at Florida Gulf Coast University. How was that like for you?
I love teaching. Andy, I love interviews. Working with you today to me is just pure bliss. I love teaching. So, when I'm in front of a crowd of students and we're taking them through, deep motivational practices in
Yeah.
becoming a certified life coach or public speaking,
Uh
one
huh.
of my favorite courses to teach because so many people are afraid of public speaking.
Yeah.
And we've created this 10-week course that they walk out and they're superstars.
Right.
So to see these kids, and we even had professors taking the courses, to
Okay.
see them in the class, and the very first day I'm saying, who wants to start off, with public speaking? And everyone's doing this.
Oh my.
They like, no one wants to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Wow.
And
Wow.
at the end of 10 weeks, they're up there just killing it. I mean, it is so joyful. And when you become confident as a public speaker, your whole life shifts.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
this. You're a host. You're a public
Yes.
speaker.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
your confidence level, Annie, doesn't it go through the roof when you can
It
handle
does. It
this?
does. It does. Amazing stuff. David, part of your fascinating life has been as an ordained minister. And I need for you to share with us how you became involved in that spiritual part and what was the experience like for you.
Andy, I've been doing interviews about myself, like we're doing here with you, for over 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
No one has ever asked me that question.
Wow. Amazing. Well, here we are, my friend.
It's it's a very meaningful question, a very important one, especially right now, because I had a pretty difficult childhood. My mom and dad were phenomenal. It wasn't them; they just didn't know how to handle a super sensitive kid. And
Okay.
as you can tell,
Yeah.
there's certain
Yeah.
things that you've said that bring me to tears.
Yeah.
I've always had this sensitivity, and I love it. I feel blessed by it. I feel, Andy, everything.
Yeah.
And one of the things that my parents, the reason why this is such an emotional response from me, is that when I was a child, up until I left at 18, my mom and dad tried to instill in me very powerful principles of faith, belief in
Mm-hmm.
God,
Mm-hmm.
and I toyed with it. I of course, as kids, we not all of us buy into God stuff and God talk and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad both passed away in the last 12 months.
Hmm.
And I look at their role model, Andy, was off the charts in regards to faith.
Okay.
They were both in hospice for 4 years. It was a very difficult, prolonged dying process.
Mm-hmm.
But when my mom died first, and they had been together 71 years, Andy.
Wow.
They had been married for 71 years.
Amazing.
And when my mom passed, we were very concerned with my dad because, a lot of times when you're together with someone that long, the person who's still alive passes very quickly.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
broken heart. They even call it the
Yes.
broken heart syndrome.
Yes.
And I remember I waited about a month and I was talking to my dad and he still could talk. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, Dad, how are you handling this with such grace?
Yeah.
Like you're not complaining. You miss
Yeah.
mom, but you're not,
Yeah.
mad at God or, you're not like upset. And he looked at me and he said, I have such complete faith in the
Mm-hmm.
path of God
Mm-hmm.
that I understand mom had to go when she had to go.
Okay.
And I also understand that when he calls, I'll be ready to join her.
Wow.
And Andy,
Wow. Powerful.
it is so powerful,
Powerful.
and so a long time ago, I had studied all the religions in the world and I had decided that I wanted to get into ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't actually become a minister yet. And I was doing a speech to a group of teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget it. It was in Sarasota, Florida, a very, very long time ago. And this woman came up to me after the presentation and she said, Mr. Essel, would you please come and do the sermon at our all black Baptist church this
Okay.
Sunday?
Yeah.
And I said, what? She goes, yeah, I want to invite you. I know the pastor's going to love you. The congregation is going to love you. I said, I'm not a minister. She goes, yes, you are.
Ah,
I,
there you
I,
go.
I said, no, I said, I've never gone through training. And she said, you're a natural born minister.
Wow.
And Andy, I remember looking at her going, are you sure? Do you have any idea what you're talking about? She goes, David, I know everything I'm talking about. And you are a natural born minister, and I'm inviting you to speak. Now, Andy, because I didn't have the confidence, honestly, to go and to speak in front of a church, of any kind of church,
Mm-hmm.
without being a quote unquote minister,
Yeah.
I told her I couldn't do it. But here's the funny thing: the very next month, I'm in a monastery
Uh-huh.
speaking to monks for 4 straight days. I get into taking all kinds of courses to become a minister. And
Wow.
my upbringing with my mom and dad's faith, combined with this woman coming from out of nowhere
Yeah.
saying, you already are a minister, put me into that practice. And it has been so incredibly rewarding. Oh my Lord, right? To spread the message of hope, just like your show. When
Yes.
I'm reading about what your show is about, sharing love, sharing hope, sharing inspiration, exactly what your show does is what
Yes.
a minister does.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
what we do. And I
Yes.
became a
Yes.
pastor of a church. And then, which was an absolute blast to be the pastor of a church. And now what I do is I fill in for ministers that need time off.
Okay.
So if a minister needs a Sunday off, I'll go and fill in with them. But, thank you for asking that question.
You're welcome,
Thank you
sir.
for
You're
allowing me to
welcome.
share and to celebrate my mom and dad's faith, which became, my faith.
Definitely. Wonderful. I can feel the power and the emotion and the passion.
Yeah.
And I think that is what people need to get in their life to come to that place where they can feel that fulfillment. That's amazing, David. Thank you for sharing. Now,
Yes.
it says that for 25 years, you use a variety of healing methods. to help people release limiting beliefs regarding so many different things. Can you share some of those healing methods and how did you come to discover them?
Yeah, there's so many beautiful tools, Andy, in this world to help people heal from
Uh huh.
anxiety, depression,
Yeah.
financial challenges, relationship challenges, weight challenges. I mean,
Right.
there's millions of tools, and unfortunately, the general public isn't exposed to these tools.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
give you an example.
Right.
Uh, I worked with a woman last year who had such high anxiety she could barely leave her house. Um,
Wow.
and with the pandemic and everything, it was getting worse and worse and worse. And her husband contacted me one day and said, "I'm very concerned with my wife. She's in great physical shape. She has no medical conditions, but it's up in her mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's constantly worrying and everything has to be perfect." And,
Mm-hmm.
so she came in, and for the first couple of weeks, it was really hard. She was crying a lot, which is
Yeah.
very normal.
Yeah.
But it was very hard for her to express herself. And so I said to her at one point in time, I said, "When you grew up, was there a mom or a dad or a grandmother or a grandfather that was always anxious, that was
Wow.
always filled with
Yeah.
dread
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
maybe a perfectionist?" And she looked at
Yeah.
me and she said, "David, you're talking about my mother."
Wow. Yes.
And I said, "You have carried your mother's traits forward in life unknowingly.
Wow.
They've grown over the years. And now all you're doing is replicating what you saw growing up from 0 to 18. Your
Yes.
mom was always anxious, always nervous, always feared the worst was going to happen,
Yeah.
constantly reinforce that negativity. If you go outside, make sure that you have 6 pairs of underwear in case you get in an accident and have to go to the hospital." That kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
over parenting.
Yes.
They call it the helicopter parent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she took those traits of anxiety that she grew up with for 18 years, and unknowingly, Andy, she continued to build them deeper and deeper. So once she saw that the origin of her anxiety was she was mimicking her mom,
Mm-hmm.
then logically she'd go, "Oh my Lord. Okay, now I know the origin. What do we do?" And
Yes.
then
Yes. Yeah.
we start
Yeah.
going into different practices. So we had her journaling every day. And here's something so crucial. When she had a feeling of anxiety, she would write it down.
Okay.
And then next to it, she would write, "In my control or out of my control."
Okay. Yeah.
So when something anxious would happen, she would look at it and go, "Okay, is this something that I can do something about?" And if the answer was no, she'd say, "No, I can't. I need to let it
Help.
go."
Yes.
And then
Yes.
she would take deep breaths to let it go. If
Okay.
something made her anxious, Andy, that she had control over, then she would say, "Okay, I've got to do this right now."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that people don't understand is, one of the greatest creators of anxiety is procrastination.
Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you procrastinate over and
Yes.
over doing
Yeah.
something, we're creating more anxiety, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
as she saw the things she was procrastinating on and she started taking care of them right away, the anxiety started to drop
Right.
dramatically.
Right. Wonderful.
So, and there's
Wonderful.
so many other tools out there,
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
I love meditation as a tool, uh,
Uh-huh.
deep breathing as a tool for
Right.
anxiety, walking as a tool for
Yeah.
anxiety. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of great tools.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing, David.
Yeah.
That's our special guest in the breakout room, the man David Essel, sharing his personal experience and motivation and inspiration and value to give us health, happiness, and prosperity. We will go for a quick break, but we'll be right back. Please don't go nowhere as we stay tuned to the breakout room for the inspiration. Stand by, folks. FindRadioGuest.com, the place to click to find guests to interview for free. And if you're a radio show booker, podcaster, talk show host, or television producer, then this is the place to get podcasts and radio interviews or promote your books and products as a guest expert sponsor. FindRadioGuest.com. Check it out. Hi, people. This is a special invitation for you to join our community. Yes, We're inviting you to join our community for 2022. What's in store? Well, what we want is your feedback on our content and our guests, but more so on what you need to be inspired and transformed from your current condition to one of happiness, health, and prosperity. So drop us a line and reach out. Help us to better help you achieve your goals. So, people, inbox me at www.facebook.com/mddreamer/. That's www.facebook.com/mddreamer/. Or send me an email at lovebitsa@gmail.com. That's lovebitsa@gmail.com. We love hearing from you as we build our partnership in growth and development, and we look forward to your communicating. Help us to help you to live a better life in personal growth and development from Andy's Personal Development. We love you. We look forward to hearing from you. See you soon. Bye for now. Okay, we are back with David live in the breakout room. So now, David, let's get into the writing. I mean, you have written a ton of books and workbooks and stuff with regards to the stuff that you do that you've mastered over the years. Tell us how you got into writing and how did it happen that you got all this inspiration for 12 publications and maybe even more?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it started in a bizarre way, Andy. I was an alcoholic for 30
Ah,
years.
wow.
And one day I was sitting at a bar and I'm waiting for a friend of mine to come in to have a drink. And I asked the bartender for a pen and some napkins. And I just
Hmm.
started writing down things. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just writing down things. And so I
Okay.
was there for about a half an hour on my own. And then she came in and I went home the next day. And when I got up in the morning, I pulled out of my pocket all these notes and it was poetry. And I was writing about my pain.
Okay.
I was writing about my sadness. I was writing about my addictions.
Uh-huh.
And the next day I woke up and I started writing more and I started writing more. And all of a sudden I'm going, oh my God, like where is this coming from? And because I was never trained
Wow.
in literature or English or poetry. And
Right.
I'm writing a book on poetry for God's sake.
Hmm.
And it's crazy. And so I go through for about a month writing every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the first month I was writing about my pain, my disappointment, my sadness, my hurt, my loss, my addictions, everything else. Then the second month, all of a sudden, these feelings of hope started coming in.
Okay.
And so I started to write about maybe I can break through my addictions and maybe I can
Mm-hmm.
break through my depression and maybe I can
Mm-hmm.
break through these different things, right? And I started to feel better. And then all of a sudden, the last chapter, I started writing about love.
Right.
And that as I'm changing, I'm learning that I'm starting to love myself more and I'm starting to love other people more. So the weirdest thing, I got into writing sitting at a bar as an alcoholic of all things, Andy. I mean, it's the craziest way to
Wow.
start, a career. But here's the fascinating thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't have a background in English or literature or broadcast journalism or anything like that whatsoever. But again, what I said in the beginning when we first started talking, Andy, everyone is given a million different gifts.
That's right.
We are overloaded with gifts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if we don't go out of our comfort zone and if we don't try new things, we may not even know we have those gifts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's
And
right.
so, and then we followed up. I had so much fun writing that book that another book came, and the next book was a children's book. And I go, oh my gosh, where did this come from? And then I kept writing.
Amazing.
But for our audience, I think this is really important.
Uh-huh.
I wrote books for 20 years with almost zero recognition, minimal sales, minimal recognition, right? And then all of a sudden, I wrote a book and it is called Positive Thinking Will Never Change Your Life, but this book will.
I remember that.
And that book went number one with the help of Jenny McCarthy. A
Yes.
lot of people might know Jenny McCarthy. She's an
Hmm.
actress and she's the TV host for The Masked Singer,
Right.
which is very popular,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she was a radio host on Sirius XM. So she had me on her show. And it was a very interesting interview, Andy. She was a fan of The Secret, the law of attraction, positive thinking, like you wouldn't believe. And she asked me on the show and she goes, okay, this next guest is David Essel. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to agree with him, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him 3 minutes to sell me that positive thinking alone won't change someone's life, because I've been telling all of my listeners that it will.
Yes.
He
Yes.
goes, David, go. So, Andy, I did my 3 minutes. At the end of it, Jenny's sitting there shaking her hand. She's
Wow.
going like this, and she leans forward to the microphone and she goes, ladies and gentlemen, I never thought I would say this. David Essel, with what he just shared from his book, Positive
Uh-huh.
Thinking Will Never Change Your Life, but This Book Will.
Yeah.
He is by far the new leader of the positive thinking movement. And,
Yes.
it took 20 years of writing books. And then the one book that you wouldn't think would be a number one bestseller, Positive Thinking Will Never Change Your Life, becomes a number one
Mm-hmm.
bestseller. But I'll tell
Yeah.
you why it did.
Uh-huh.
In the book, we say that 20% of your success will absolutely come from your mindset.
Okay.
Optimistic, faith driven, happy, doing things that you enjoy on a daily basis, helping other people make a difference in their lives. All of your positive thinking, your affirmations, your vision boards, your visualization, that's crucial for about 20% of our success.
Right.
But 80% of our success will come from doing things we'd rather not do, Andy.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kept writing
Yeah.
books for 20 years, wanting that number one bestseller. It never came, but I kept writing and kept writing, and that's the attitude. We need to be positive. We need to believe in ourselves. We need to surround ourselves with positive people.
Yeah.
But then we need to do the work that 90% of people won't do, to
Mm-hmm.
lose the weight, to make the money, to create deep love, to write the
Yes.
book,
Yes.
like doing what other people won't do, doing what we would rather not do, Andy, is such a key secret to success.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if someone would have said to me, 30, 40 years ago, you're going to write, well, we have 12 books, as you mentioned, and we have a new one coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to write 10 or 12 or 15 books. I would have said they're crazy, because
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
training.
Right.
But and again, and we'll go a little bit further. I have no training in the world of radio, but I've been a radio host for 35 years.
There
I
you
have no
go.
training in TV,
Mm.
but I'm still a TV host for over 30 years.
Right.
I have no training in writing, but we have 12 books. So
Right.
don't let a lack of training get in the way of your dreams.
There you go. That's so amazing. I am touched. I am moved. And it reminds me, I was doing a workshop with some very important people. And one of the guys, one of our mentors, he said, listen, I'm going to give you a picture of what I think most people do. Most people sit down and they look at the canyons in their lives and they expect bridges to be built for them to cross, not realizing all the time that within them lies the ability to develop wings and soar over the canyons into success. And I could have grown here again because that was so powerful.
I love
And
it.
you just brought me back to that place, David. This is amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing. So here's the thing. How did you learn to overcome the chronic pains in your life? What were the life lessons that you learned that you can now share with people on a daily basis?
Andy, I think the most important tip that I could give is that whatever we are challenged with, if we haven't been able to overcome it by now, we probably never will by ourselves.
Okay.
There's a part of our willpower that is
Mm-hmm.
very powerful. Discipline, very powerful. But even with high willpower and high discipline, there are certain struggles and pain that we have in life that we need others to help guide us through. Other
Yeah.
people that have already walked that path, other people that have already grieved the loss of their loved ones, other people that have already lost 100 pounds, other people that have already come back from homelessness, other people that have come back from a lack of faith or a belief in a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what they need right now in their life, then they need to surround themselves with people who have that, right? like
Yeah. Yeah.
like Too many times, and men make this mistake more than women, actually. Too many times men say, no, I'm going to beat this addiction. I'm just going to man up and do it. I'm going to make that $1,000,000, even though we've never come close to it before. I'm going to figure this out. And instead of fighting this world, welcome people in that
Yeah.
have the experience, welcome the teachers, the mentors, the professionals, bring them in,
Yes.
and if you don't have a lot of money, see if you can barter with them, see if you what
Yeah. Yeah.
extended
Yeah.
payment programs. Like, don't
Yes.
give up because
Yes.
that you don't have the current money, or don't give up because you don't think you have the time, or don't give up because you don't think you're worthy
Yeah.
of working with someone who's already created great success. Um, I still have mentors in my life. I always will have mentors in my life.
That's
I
right.
can't
That's right.
imagine that I know it all and I'll always have the answers, right? So I have people that I reach out to. And I
Yes.
think that that's an important key to overcome challenges and pain, emotional, mental challenges,
Hmm.
physical challenges, relationship, financial. Reach out, surround yourself with optimistic, positive people. And I think that's another point that we could say. If you want to rise and go to a high level, look around at who's in your life right now that you spend time with. Are they
Yeah.
motivated?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or are
Yeah.
they stuck in gossip and
Very
conspiracy
important.
theories, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they moving in their life? Now,
Yes.
sometimes people think, Andy, I'm a little harsh when I say if you have multiple people in your life that are not moving forward, cut back on the amount of time you spend with them.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you don't have to
Definitely.
eliminate them,
Yes.
but at least cut back time so you open up a doorway for more inspirational people to fill
Yeah.
that void, right?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Wonderful stuff. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I want to commend you again, David. You instigated, or you opened a few years ago, a fundraiser for homeless veterans. But here's the thing: you made 1,000 free throws with only 1,100 attempts. What was that like, man? Tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Andy, you're bringing up some great memories, brother. You're bringing up awesome memories. Yeah, I've always had a huge open heart for the homeless.
Okay.
A number of years ago, as a matter of fact, I'll tell a story of how I actually really connected with the homeless. I was living in a part of Florida, and I would run every day, and there was a gentleman that would come out of the bushes, scare the heck
Hmm.
out of me.
Huh.
But he was panhandling. He was an
Okay.
alcoholic and a drug addict, and he was just asking for money. And he'd go, "Excuse me, sir, I'm sorry to interrupt your run, but do you have any money?" And every day, Andy, I'd say, "I'm soaking sweat. I don't run with money."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
go, and if I had money, it would be drenched in my sweat. You wouldn't want it. And I would start laughing. And so one day he came out, and I reached in my pocket, and I go, "Oh my gosh, there's a dollar bill." So
Wow.
his name was Mark. I had gotten to know
Hmm.
him, and I said, "Mark, good to see you again." And he said the same thing every time, Andy. He'd say, "Have we met before?" I go, "Mark, we talk every day. I
Yeah.
see you every day here." He goes, "Oh,
Wow.
okay." So I said, "Hey, listen, use this for your highest good. I didn't think I had
Hmm.
any money, but I'm going to bless it. Use it for your highest good, whatever that is to you." And he looks at me
Yeah.
and he goes, "Oh my Lord." I go, "What?" He goes, "This is a $5 bill." And I look down and I go, "Oh my God, I thought it was a dollar."
Whoa.
And I said, "Oh, well, I thought it was a dollar, but go ahead and use it." He
Hmm.
said, "Sir, I can't take this."
Wow.
I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I can't take this amount of money unless I give you something in return." I
Oh.
said, "Mark," I said, "I don't need anything that you have. I'm fine. Okay. Take it, but use it for your highest good. Use it for use it for a sandwich. Use it for something good. And
Yeah.
so he said, "No." And he started going through his knapsack. And I said, "Mark, whatever's in that knapsack, you need a lot more than me." I go, "No, keep it, keep it." And he said, "Okay." He said, "But I have to give you something." Andy, this really was touching my heart. And
Mm.
so he said, "I'll tell you what, I make up really good stories. How
Uh-huh.
about if I give you a story for your $5 and you can do whatever you want with it?" I said, "Mark, how long is the story?" He said, "5 minutes." I said, "Okay, go ahead."
Five. Yeah.
Oh my God, Andy. Hold on a second. He gave me a story that became one of my books.
Rockstar. Yeah.
Finding God's
Wow.
Purpose for Your Life came from
Yes.
Mark the homeless man.
Wow.
He's the one. He tells me this incredible story about this rock that was living in the desert, that was depressed and anxious. Now, think about this. Think about this, Andy. Here's this homeless guy. He's telling me this story. It's a beautiful story, right? And we get to the very end of it, and he says the rock knew it had a purpose in life. And it kept praying to God to help the rock find its purpose. And it was not going to have any more depression or anxiety. And instead, the rock was going to just pray
Yes.
every day to find
Mm-hmm.
his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to give away the book. I'm going to give away the end of the story. And you
Okay.
still, people want to buy the book. It's a beautiful little story given to me by a homeless man. At the end of the story, the rock is all alone in the desert, wondering when and if he's ever going to be used by God. And he hears these little footsteps around him.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh my gosh, there's people in the middle of the desert. And the next thing is he's picked up. He said, oh my gosh, this little person has picked me up. And then all of a sudden, he finds himself flying through the air. And he goes, is this my purpose in life? To be picked up by a boy and be thrown through the air? And then he hits a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And the rock falls to the sand. And then about 30 seconds later, the mountain falls right next to him. This huge earthquake-like feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a roar from the army, a victory roar.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I get
The
it.
rock
I get it.
was
Wow.
King David's.
Synonymous with your name, my friend. Oh, yeah, I get it.
The rock
Wow.
was in the sling of King David.
Wow. Amazing.
I'm getting
Amazing.
chills right now,
Yeah,
Andy.
actually, yes. I can share
Right?
that with you, my friend. Yeah, powerful.
And
Absolutely powerful.
it's so incredible. And that came from a homeless man. And
Yes.
and my heart was moved so deeply by that gentleman. And here's something fascinating, Mark or Andy.
Mm-hmm.
I held on to that story for 10 years because I never found him again. I
Okay.
wanted to find Mark and to say, hey, I'm going to put this into a book. I never found him again. And then we finally published the book, and it has touched so many people's lives. And it came from this experience. So I think we need to, this as well as anyone, Andy. We really need to look at people. We need to get to know people. When you look into the eyes of the homeless, and I know a lot of people are afraid to do this, but you make them human.
Yes.
You
Yes.
make them, when you smile at a homeless person, even if you don't give them a dollar or whatever, you're making them feel human.
That's
Um,
right.
when I interact with the homeless on the street, I always say, "What's your first name?" And they'll tell me. And when I say, Mark, it's really nice to meet you, they light up, Andy.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
feel like someone actually cares. Someone actually, and all I'm doing is calling them by name and talking to them. I'm not doing anything monumental.
Yes.
But this is the driving force, and this was given to me by my mom and dad. And I want to tell you a great. Can I tell a story about my mom and
Sure.
dad?
Sure. Go ahead.
So when I was 10 years of age, my mom and dad wanted to adopt another child, and they couldn't. They wanted to have. We have 3 children. My mom couldn't have any more kids, and they were going to adopt, and everything fell through. So then my mom found out about this organization in New York City called the Fresh Air Fund. And what they did was they took these young children living in the slums, living in the ghettos, and they matched them with a family for the summer. So we had this awesome black child named Michael, who was my age, 10 years of age, come up from New York City, but we lived in an all-white neighborhood. And this
Mm-hmm.
is back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And so the neighbors started giving my parents all kinds of crap for having a black child in our house.
Okay.
So I saw the strength of my mom and dad not backing down. I saw the power of them believing.
Wow. Wow. Yes. 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 It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
And, in that moment, I saw the reality of no color of skin. I saw the reality of just being human.
That's right.
And I
That's right.
transferred that to the homeless, and I transferred
Mhm.
that to, other, and so I was raised blessed in that environment, Andy, to be
Yes.
able to have an open heart and a belief that all people have goodness, and the judgment that comes from society is so ridiculous,
Yes.
and we need to be more caring and compassionate and open. And the only way we become more caring, compassionate, and open is to put ourselves in front of those people that we may not feel comfortable with, only because we've never done it before, not
Yeah.
because there's anything bad that's going to happen.
That's right. That's right. I hear you. Fantastic. David, I'm going to play a video for you. It's a very short video.
Yeah.
But when I looked at it first, I saw something in it. And I want you to tell us the real motivation behind the video. And I just want to see if what I saw is what you really meant to say. All right.
Okay.
So here we go.
There's many people right now struggling with the ability to focus, to concentrate, and there's a lot of different reasons for this. Hey, I'm David Essel. I'm going to give you some ideas of supplements today that can be amazing regarding concentration, focus, and even memory. Amazing supplements that are on the market today. For the past 43 years as a counselor, #1 best-selling author, master life coach, and more, we've helped thousands upon thousands of people learn how, through supplementation, we can regain focus. And with now the new information out about COVID brain, this could be even more important. So if you're not taking any anti-anxiety and not taking any antidepressants or any mood stabilizers, this video is for you. #1, to increase focus, amino acid supplement DLPA acts on the neurotransmitter dopamine in the brain, allowing us to feel better about ourselves. Tyrosine, another amino acid, acts on the dopamine center of the brain. Tryptophan, a relaxant, works on serotonin. Right there, if you have DLPA, tyrosine, and tryptophan, you're good to go. I'm David Essel. If you need more help, go to talkdavid.com.
Yeah. So tell us what was the motivation behind that, because I think I know it, but I want to hear it from you.
We limit ourselves, Andy, to believe that like a COVID brain or
Uh huh.
a lack of feeling good or whatever is something that we can't overcome. So many
Ah.
so many people
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
given up
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
belief that
Yeah.
they can feel better again.
Yes.
And so I did the video because right now, if we look at some of the biggest studies that are out about COVID,
Mm-hmm.
COVID brain is a real thing. People
Yes.
feeling sad, depressed,
Mm.
lethargic,
Yeah. Yeah.
procrastination, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a real thing. And I want people to know that there's so simple, natural solutions. You don't need a prescription. You don't need a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
out there that can help us,
Yes.
Andy, that
Yeah.
so few
Yeah.
people talk about, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
thing was, hey, hope. There's hope
Yes.
out there. Let's take
Wonderful.
advantage of it.
Wonderful. Fantastic. David, you have been an amazing guest, my friend, and I know that you have shared so much tremendous value and hope and passion and compassion and love. And we're going to always remember this episode for a long, long time to come. So, as we have come to the end, I'm going to give you the opportunity. I'm going to give you the floor now to share with folks how they can maintain contact with you, get your social handles, your publications, for you to speak, your services, whatever you do. It's all yours. I'll be around for a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, Andy, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank everyone for being a part of Andy's podcast. I feel that he's just brilliant. The questions were phenomenal, and I feel very honored to be with him and with you right now. The #1 thing I can encourage you to do is go to our website, talkdavid.com. We've got a brand new program that's absolutely free. It's called Helping Americans and the World to Heal. When you sign up, you instantly get our #1 best-selling book on positive thinking right to your email. And this is free at talkdavid.com, Helping Americans Heal. Then every Monday, you'll get an email with interviews like this. As a matter of fact, Andy's interview with me today will be part of our Helping Americans Heal Monday e-blast. So you'll get interviews, you'll get articles, you'll get videos on how to sleep better, how to become financially independent. You'll get a video and an audio on motivation and meditation. So there's all kinds of free things. That's Helping Americans Heal. #1 thing, it's free. Join it. You're going to get a lot of information and tools to help you during these challenging times. #2, a brand new mental health and master life coach certification. We are going to keep this at 50% off for the next 12 months because of the craziness of the pandemic. So go to talkdavid.com if you want to help people to heal and make a great part-time or full-time income. Become a mental health and master life coach certified by me, and we do it over the weekends so we can get you certified in 90 days out there making money, helping people heal. And then, of course, if you want to work with me one-on-one or look at our books, all of that is at talkdavid.com as well. So thank you so much. Enjoy visiting the website, join the free program, and let's rock as we change our lives together.
Yeah, the rock star, David.
Uh,
This has been one amazing show, David. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend, for agreeing to be with us, for spending this valuable time. We look forward to many more conversations and connections in the future as we continue to hope to bring the level of success to people's lives that they need, that is necessary for survival, for fulfillment, for people finding true health, happiness, and prosperity. This is Andy of Andy's Personal Development. We are still live in the breakout room with our special guest, David Essel, the man of the moment. But we have to go now. However, remember, folks, keep at the forefront of your mind that we are all one in this universe and that love is the key to our existence, to our sustenance, and to us being together as one. Remember the key watchwords: health, happiness, and prosperity. Make it your aim to get there at some point in time. Enjoy the process and enjoy the success. This is Andy of Andy's Personal Development saying so long. Until next time, again, I say to you, Godspeed, Shalom, and Namaste. See you guys. Thanks again. Bye for now.